Hello everybody, I'm the Blind Scout and welcome to the channel. So today I want to talk about kind of a need for more options with regards to jetpacks, which of course are these different things on the thing. So of course I'm in creative right now, but still the things that I think need to happen with as far as adding more flexibility with how you play, how you can set up your worlds in Space Engineers. Because right now you have basically jetpacks on or off, which are okay. I'm glad we have that option, but I would prefer to have a drop-down option that like gives us a few different options for how to set up the world. Like for instance, having the option to like maybe select so that jetpacks just don't work on planets, for instance. Like you get down to a planet and your jetpack just doesn't work. I mean, there's a mod out. Well, I think there's multiple mods out, but I know of one mod that kind of disables jetpacks on planets. And I like that's a thing. But I think that should be in game as like a drop down. Like you should be able to do both. And another thing, like when the game first released, jetpacks were really like they used up tons of fuel, like so much fuel, and it really frustrated me at the time that they used up so much fuel, because you could only zip around for like, what was it? If you didn't have a tank on you, you could only zip around for like, you had like 15 seconds of fuel, I think. And one thing that kind of frustrates me is the fact that like that's kind of actually a cool feature if you're trying to do a more hardcore playthrough, because then you have jetpacks, but you have to use them very sparingly. That should be an option. It should be like reduced planet jetpack should be an option. So where like, you know, if I'm using my jetpack, it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And okay, now I've used up all of my fuel. Now, of course, I have fuel tanks, then okay, you can maybe do more. But, you know, basically make it so that in survival, you just have a very limited amount of fuel. Like you just burn through tons and tons of fuel. That way it forces you to have to move on the ground and actually use ships more and actually build things more. Because right now, jetpacks are effective enough that if you get bottles, you can just zip around freely and just zoom around like crazy. And, you know, maybe even having more like, having like a hardcore planet jetpack as another option where you have like 5 seconds of fuel. So every time you hit that 5 seconds, you're going to refuel from the tanks. So even with the tanks, you're not going to last very long in the air. That would actually be, I would not mind that at all, actually. I think that would be like, that should also be an option. And it's one of the beauties of Space Engineers that there's like a lot of flexibility in the way you can set up your worlds. And it's something that I've always kind of loved. And yeah, you could go in and do it with mods, but I really think that should be a feature that's actually in the game, just to force you to have to depend more on actually building things, building ships. Because right now you can zip around pretty readily. And I've even done this in where trying to get into places, instead of taking ships in because it's expensive, trying to, you know, fly your character into dangerous situations and get in, because it's cheaper that way. You just take your character and just zip them right into something. Well, that's kind of silly. And while you're on a planet, that's really silly, because you know, you shouldn't have the ability to basically be Superman or Iron Man or whatever, zipping around and doing crazy stuff. And also, there's no real reason to use scaffolding or anything like that in the game currently. So I would love to see that kind of option in the game with reference to jetpacks, just so that you can create a more kind of like a more hardcore experience. And I just, that's personally something that I feel like really should be part of the game. And the original setting for Jetpack, I do feel like should be an option, and not just Jetpack on or off. Like I'm fine with I like having that option, but like there should be more options on top of that for use with jetpacks, so that you can kind of customize how your experience is going to go. So if you want to make things a little bit harder, because I've been doing a series on the alien world, but honestly most of the time you end up using your jetpack to get away from the spiders. Well, imagine if your jetpack only lasted for 5 seconds. Well, guess what? You're not going to be zipping away using your jetpack. You're going to probably be you're going to approach things very differently if that's an option. But I don't want to, like for me, I don't want to just have jetpacks completely disabled. I want to have, because sometimes there's situations where, you need that little jump with your jetpack to do things. But I don't want it to be, I want you to have to think, or I want to have to think about how I use my jetpack. Not just like, oh, I have, a minute of fuel, so I can zip around every which way, or 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment and all that fun stuff. And thank you for watching.